I would like to call the Flint Board of Education Board Committee of the whole meeting to order at 6:30. Before we begin that portion of our meeting, which allows the public to address the board, we will perform our swearing-in ceremony for our newly appointed board member, Linda Bowles. I'm sorry. Linda Booz. The board's executive assistant, Monica Elston, is a notary public and will be conducting the swearing in. I'll now ask Linda Booz to rise and stand on the stage between the board table and face Ms. Elston.
Okay.
Comfortable fighting for us so you guys can see her. So I wanted to stand this way so you guys can, if you want to, I don't know if you want to come around or if you guys want her to turn to the side,
Whatever she's comfortable with.
Okay. So you're gonna hold your hand up. Okay. And you're gonna recite for me your oath of office. So your first one is your acceptance of office. That's correct.
I do hereby accept the office of member of the Board of Education of the Flint District of the City of Flint, Michigan.
That's right. Now she's going to do her constitutional oath of office.
Okay. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of this state, and I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of member of the Board of Education of the School District of the City of Flint, Michigan, according to the best of my ability.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Ms. Booz, and thank you, Monica, for assisting with the swearing in. The board wishes to also thank the family and friends of Linda Booz that may have come this evening to support her. Please stand to be recognized. Board members, as I call your name, please reply present for the record. Vice President McNeil.
Present.
Treasurer McIntyre.
Present.
Assistant Secretary Treasurer Del Moroni.
Present.
Trustee Booz.
Present.
Trustee Gilbert.
Present.
Trustee McIntosh.
Present.
Myself, President Green, present. The board will now hear comments from the public. We ask that you state the reason for addressing the board and that you limit your remarks to 3 minutes on matters within the authority of the board and not address individuals by name. The presiding officer of the board shall have the right to limit the number of persons who may address the board on the same subject. Is there anyone from the public? Oh, I have them right here. Carrie Downs.
Good evening, board, and let me just say congratulations, Ms. Booth, on your induction to the board.
Thank you.
I'm so pleased to share this evening in my public comment that this is AmeriCorps Appreciation Week. AmeriCorps Appreciation Week takes place across the country, and during AmeriCorps Appreciation Week, we recognize the commitment of more than 1.2 million Americans who have chosen to serve their country through the AmeriCorps program, and millions more who've served in AmeriCorps seniors and their community partners, and to encourage more Americans to follow their footsteps in service. AmeriCorps engages more than 250,000 Americans each year in sustained results-driven service through our AmeriCorps and AmeriCorps Seniors programs. These dedicated citizens help communities manage COVID-19 response, ensure students stay on track to graduate. They combat hunger and homelessness, respond to natural disasters, fight the opioid epidemic, and they help seniors live independently, support veterans and military families, and so much more. Locally, through the Crim Fitness Foundation, we have AmeriCorps service members investing in our youth and families as student success coordinators who serve as success mentors for our students who are challenged with chronic absenteeism. They also serve as community resource development vistas, and they focus on soliciting volunteers and gaining more resources for our families. We also have Food Corps members who manage our gardens in 9 of the Flint schools. Additionally, we have Up to Us coaches that serve through the Crim Fitness Foundation to support our sports and physical activities. Our AmeriCorps team is largely made up of local community members who sign on for a year of service, and they prioritize their service in our schools. We'll be providing thank you swag bags for all of the service members who serve within the Flint Community Schools, as well as highlighting them on our social media page. Additionally, you'll see CRIM staff members serving as honorary AmeriCorps members this week as a means to celebrate our dedicated service members. Please look for the AmeriCorps logo in the schools and around the city of Flint, as many of our local organizations provide great opportunities for AmeriCorps members to invest in our city. A huge shout out to the United Way for serving as the Flint National Service Accelerator for our city to make all these great opportunities happen. And just again, thank you. I know, Ms. Green, you have a great history with AmeriCorps, and we appreciate your past service. Thank you so much, board. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Ms. Downs. Mr. Arthur Woodson.
Good evening. Congratulations, Ms. Booz.
Thank you.
Heard a lot of good things about you from a lot of different people. Let's start by talking about GISD. The hearing, they said that they was going to change the formula. They said that they were going to do a whole lot of different things. At one point, they was talking about how they had to go back and get the lump sum of money from where they had illegally taken money from the city of Flint, because the formula was illegal and unfair. I say this because I see a lot of things going on questioning the superintendent and the finance director or CFO, but I don't see anybody going out here to these entities that owe the school district money still. NCE got $4.2 million from the school district in 2019. 2019, it ended in 2021. The lawsuit was brought about by ACLU because Flint could not do IEPs. They didn't have behavioral counselors. They didn't have nurses. So they sued the city of Flint to help the city of Flint. NCE, Neuro Center of Excellence. I asked them, how many kids did you see that was from Flint School District? Not Flint kids, Flint School District, because those are the kids that you were supposed to be helping. They only seen 10 kids out of 400. They only seen 400 kids altogether. You got $4.2 million, and all you have seen is 10 kids from the city of Flint. But I do not see any of the board going to fight with them, but I see them fighting the administration. I don't understand that. I really don't. How many people know the formula? How many people know how much money GISD is supposed to send over here under Act 18? How many people going over to GISD asking GISD to send us that center-based dollars where it's reimbursed Medicare, Medicaid, whatever it is? How many people? I see on here that you have a letter of agreement. We say that we love our teachers, we love our kids, but I see a lot of personal issues going on. I see a lot of egos going on. I see a lot of that. You got to remove all that. It's all about the kids. It's not about what you feel and how you feel. It's about the kids. We need new school buildings. That's how we bring money back into our district. If we don't get new schools, we don't get new kids, we don't get new money. We can't bring in-house programs because if it wasn't for ESSER funds, we'd be $25 million or more in the hole. Let's get the new schools built. Retain our teachers because they say in a few we're going to have.
Thank you, Mr. Woodson.
All right.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak to the board? Going once? Going twice? Thank you. I see Ms. Booz has some family members walk in. Is that correct, Ms. Booz?
Yes.
I just want to give you, hi, how are you? I want to give you an opportunity. I see the beautiful flowers that you brought. I just want to give you an opportunity to give them to her. I think that's a special gesture. And if they wanted to say something, that's great too. Yep, come on. Is it a mic she can have if she needs a mic?
Okay, I can come here.
Yeah, you can say something if you like.
And we love you.
That's my baby girl, Andrea.
Hi, baby girl. Nope.
I see my sister Sharon and her daughter. I see my two granddaughters and my great niece and my great nephews, two great nephews and my niece. You can stand up.
Yeah, stand up, guys. Thank you guys for coming. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, we just love you. And I was educated, I went to all the flips. I went to Carpenter Road, Northwestern, Whittier. So I'm glad she's filling
Absolutely.
in.
Northwestern.
At this time, I seek a motion and a second to go into closed session to consult with legal counsel regarding pending litigation. Oh, A. Stewart versus Flint Board of Education. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
It has been properly moved and seconded that we meet in closed session. Board members, when I call you upon your name, please say yes or no to go into closed session. Vice President McNeil.
Yes.
Treasurer McIntyre.
Yes.
Assistant Secretary Treasurer Del Maroney.
Yes.
Trustee Booz.
Yes.
Trustee Gilbert. Trustee McIntosh. And myself, yes. Board members, we are now in closed session. We will meet in the room right behind us. Public members will return here following the closed session. I know, but I don't know if she came out yet. Is she coming? Oh, yes, okay. You can go back here. I'm gonna try to get through this. I would like to call the board committee of the whole meeting back to order. I now will turn the floor over to Mr. Gilbert for the Human Resource Committee of the whole meeting.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Human Resource Committee of the whole, date March 16th, 2022 at 6:30, no, what time is it?
6:43.
6:43.
7:43. That's
Seven-
what it is.
7:43,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
Don't listen to me.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you, Dr. Joyce. I'd like to call the Human Resource Committee of the whole meeting to order. I will now call upon Mrs. Galloway to present action items to the board.
I seek a motion and second from the board to move action item number 1.3, resolution to accept addendums to letters of agreements and issue payments to the regular board meeting tonight for adoption. Nope. Okay, that one says regular, the orange says Kyle. It's okay. Thank you. It's my first time.
No,
Thank
that's
you.
okay. Take your time, girl.
So
Take
we're
your
on
time.
this one? No.
I'll be messing up too.
1.4.
This one. I'm so glad I got patient people with me.
Should be 1.3, shouldn't it?
All righty. I seek a motion and second from the board to move action item number 1.4, notice of consideration for non-renewal of administrator's contract to the regular board meeting tonight for adoption.
You did say 1.4. Okay.
I said 1.4.
Sorry. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's 7:30. We're doing it 6:30.
What? Okay. No, it's got to, yeah, we're at 1.4. You're doing 1.4, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do we get a so moved? Right, he said he looked for a question. So moved.
Second. Sorry.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I did have a question. So in
Mrs.
the
Aurora?
subcommittee, thank you. In the subcommittee meeting, there was a question about the list with the vacancy. I just wanted to know if it had been changed so that we had it properly documented. Monica, there was some question about how we needed to list it. Is this, I just want to make sure that the consideration list is what we discussed in the finance committee and that it's all like it should be for the people who've retired and the contracts and, huh? Oh, sorry. Thank you. So the changes that we discussed in the subcommittee meeting. So I just wanted to check with Monica to make sure that those were the vacant for the coordinator for health services. That's how we're supposed to do it, to do vacant. Okay.
If
All right.
that position is going to remain as part of, yes.
Okay. All right. All right. Thank you. I just wanted, I remember we were talking about something and yeah, and I wanted to make sure that it was all clarified.
Can you
Okay.
repeat that so I can get an understanding? I'm not understanding the discussion.
So in the subcommittee meeting, there was a slightly different list, I think, that included someone who had retired and then had a different type of contract. And
Okay.
they were listed here as non-renewal. And I was like, well, is that the way that we're supposed to be doing this with the
Okay.
administrators? And so it was put in as vacant so that the position is held, but it's not, because the person who now is doing the contract job, right,
I got you.
isn't like an administrator.
I
So,
understand.
okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
What is the,
Any further discussion?
so it's not, so it says, so if somebody is being considered for non-renewal, is this the time to? Because is this in bulk? Are we just yes, or how does that work? Or Mr. Kevlin is sending everybody non-renewal slips? How does that work?
So if, so the way that this works is the first notice that they receive is that they are being considered for non-renewal.
So all these people have been considered for
That
non-renewal?
legally, we have to consider them,
Right.
and we have to give them notice by a certain date that
Gotcha.
they're being considered for non-renewal.
So all these people.
So you're
have-
not necessarily voting that we should not non-renew all these people. We're just saying we're going into this process to begin to consider
send
whether or
them
not,
the
and
slip
send them the notice.
to let them know they may not be.
Right.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Brother Chris?
Yeah, so, and I think this is a yearly thing,
Yes, sir.
and it just has to do with how the funding comes from the state of Michigan.
Well, it's actually in reference to the law. It's section, what's called 1229. And so it says that these people, as administrators of the district, have to be notified within a certain period if you're not going to renew them for the fall, for the next year.
Right.
So-
And the reason that we're not renewing them for the fall is
Possibly, right? So you-
possibly, right, I understand that.
Yeah. So you have 3 reasons by which you could non-renew a person. Typically, the school district has done it in blanket under under a deficit, but it could be under restructuring or for performance. But for either 3 of those reasons, you would have to use it, you would have to go through this process for the dates.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And how does this differ from how the state funds the local school districts because of the fiscal years and that. Because generally,
runs-
every year we.
It
we
runs
let people-
concurrent, right? So their contract essentially would end as of June 30th, which is the end of that fiscal year.
Mhm.
So we have to notify them, right, 90 days before the end of that year that they're being considered. And then we have to give them a complete notice to say, we are not going to renew you within 60 days, to give them an opportunity to come before this board to speak for themselves within 30 days, and then the contract ends as of June 30th. So
Which
it's
is-
concurrent with that fiscal year with that funding.
Which is an entirely separate matter from this tonight.
Correct.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Seeing no further discussion, a motion to move action item number 1.4 to the regular meeting for adoption will be conducted by a roll call vote. As I call your name, please say yes or no to approve the motion. Ms. Green,
Yes.
Dr. McNeil,
Yes.
Mrs. McIntyre,
Yes.
Ms. Booz,
Yes.
myself, Ms. McIntosh,
Yes.
and Mr. Del Maroney.
Yes.
Motion passes with 7 yes. Thank you,
Thank
Mrs.
you.
Galloway.
Thank you.
Seeing no further action at this time, I declare the Human Resources Committee adjourned. I now turn it back over to Madam Chair, President Green.
Thank you, Trustee Gilbert. I would like to know the pleasure of the board because we have another closed session here. Do you guys want to wait to the end of it, or do you want to do it before we go into the board committee of the whole? Yep, he's
Is-
on the clock, guys, so I just,
Yeah, the council is here.
yep, he's here.
I would move that we go into closed
Okay.
session.
I second that.
Okay. I got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? When I call your name, say yea or nay to go into our second closed session. Treasurer McIntyre,
Yes.
Vice President McNeil,
Yes.
Trustee Booz,
Yes.
Trustee McIntosh,
Yes.
Trustee Gilbert,
Yeah, yes.
Assistant Secretary Treasurer Del Maroney,
Yay.
and myself is the yay. At this time, I don't need to seek a motion. It has been properly, I said that. Okay, well, board members, we are now in closed session. We'll meet in the room right behind us. Public members of the public will return here following the closed session. Ready, guys? I'm calling the meeting back to order. I will now call upon Superintendent Jones to present the Board Committee of the Whole action items to the board.
Thank you, board members. I seek a motion and a second from the board to move action item 21.18, designation of delegate and alternate representatives for GISD annual budget hearing, to the regular board meeting tonight for adoption.
So moved. Oh. I didn't get a second.
Oh, that's right.
Any second?
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded. Is there, do I read this now?
Yeah.
Okay. Prior to the meeting, the floor for discussion, I would like to give it some more information about this action. Each year, the board must select a delegate and alternate to attend the GISD's annual budget hearing scheduled for Wednesday, April 27th, 2022 at 5 p.m. The delegate must come back to GISD budget hearing and share information with the rest of the board. That's not me. That's not me. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Do we nominate? Well, we already have.
This is something different.
Oh, that's,
Yeah, this is something different.
okay. Oh, sorry. So is there any discussion?
Delegate or alternate?
Delegate.
Okay, I still need an alternate.
Anybody want to nominate an alternate?
Linda Booth.
Yeah, Linda Booth.
Linda Booth.
Is there any more discussion?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
self-nominate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Are we self-nominating?
No.
Oh, okay.
Me.
Okay. Is there any more discussion? Okay, I'm sorry.
Madam President, what were the two names again?
It's, Trustee Booth and Treasurer McIntyre.
Okay.
Yeah, I would like, okay, yep. Thank you.
You do have to vote. Okay. Seeing no further discussion, the motion to move action item, oh no, we got to vote on the nominees first.
No. You're gonna vote to move and insert their names.
Oh, I got you, okay. Action 21.18 with the insertion of names, Laura as a delegate, I'm sorry, Treasurer McIntyre as delegate and Trustee Booth as the alternate to the regular board meeting for adoption tonight. I will conduct a roll call vote. As I call your name, say yes or no. Dr. McNeil? Yes. Treasurer McIntyre?
Yes.
Secretary Treasurer Del Maroney?
I'm sorry.
Mhm.
What are we voting on?
We're voting to assign a delegate and an
Oh,
alternate
I understand that.
for the annual budget hearing scheduled for Wednesday, April 27th at 5 o'clock at GISD.
Did we not have two names mentioned for delegate?
No, we
I
have
had-
one
I
for
had asked-
delegate, one for alternate.
Oh, because I had asked you and I thought you'd given me the two names.
I gave them to everybody. The delegate is Treasurer McIntyre and the alternate is Trustee Booth.
Okay,
Oh, okay,
all right. So, yes,
okay. Trustee Booth,
Yes.
Trustee Gilbert,
Yes.
Trustee McIntosh,
Yeah.
and myself is a yes. Motion passes 7-0. Please continue, Mr. Jones.
I seek a motion and a second from the board to move action item 21.19, authorization to enter into a data sharing agreement, MSU, to the regular meeting tonight for adoption.
So moved. We get a second? No second?
I second that motion.
It has been moved and properly second. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Trustee McIntosh?
I'm concerned with some of this because it says right here, I'm sorry, because I had it outlined. It says the district has decided to share this data with the university for educational research, but it also says systems for rapid district intervention for Flint Community Schools. These are systems that are being implemented for intervention for our schools. What is that? And is associated with predicted changes and the outcomes targeted by the initiative. But what really concerns me is when you get over down some ways, it says, and I thought I had outlined it, but it says stuff like aggressive implementation and use reasonable efforts to maintain all data and secure computer. Let me see where that applicable laws. It says something about, and I want to find it. I'm sorry, because it's kind. Let me see this.
Point of information, Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
Could you, Sister McIntosh, give us a page number, please?
Well, I'm flipping back and forth. This is 21.19.
19? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I got that.
Enhance the ability, let me see, enhance the ability of the district and the university to improve academic achievement for district students by allowing access to student data consistent with the requirements of the Family Educational Rights and Privacy. Emerge and measure the district's progress in support of. It was another portion that I was concerned with, and I'm sorry because I seem to have lost that. But this is concerning the description of the data and the systems for rapid district intervention for the Flint. What is that about?
What page are you on?
11.
That's
She's
page
on
Wanna
page
make sure
11,
I'm-
one of
I'm
9.
with you.
Page 11.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yeah.
In I, purpose.
Okay.
Okay, so the work that we are doing actually with MSU is with the fellowships, the coaching with the principals, and supporting that work with the principals. So any of our aggressive interventions, rapid district interventions that we're using for our scholars, it just gives them the opportunity to work with us with the data. So when we have our fellowships, when they meet with principals, they're able to share this data. When we have our partnership agreement with MDE, they are a partner with us so that they share data and we can share data with them. They can pull data to support our principals with their presentations and their work as well.
And how much is this costing us? Is anything?
It's not a cost to this.
It's free? This agreement set forth obligations, representation, promises, agreement, conditions, and understanding between the parties concerning data, hosting, or data sharing for the project. And there are no obligations. Okay, representation, okay. Promises, agreement, conditions of understanding either oral or.
President McIntosh, you want me to come, I'm sorry,
I'm
Trustee,
sorry.
you want me to come back to you?
I'm done. I'm
Okay.
sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, y'all.
Treasurer McIntyre.
Okay, so as someone who's worked over 30 years in higher education, I'm really concerned about this. First of all, let me just read this out. I've read it. I know what it means, but let me just read this out so that everyone kind of lets this fully sink in. The purpose, it says here in this data sharing agreement, I'm on page 11, the first page, data sharing agreement between Flint Community Schools and Michigan State University. Purpose, the district has decided to share district data with the university for educational research to better evaluate the extent to which implementation of the CSMOT-funded Comprehensive System for Rapid District Intervention for Flint Community Schools, in parentheses, the project, is associated with predicted changes in the outcomes targeted by the initiative. The description of the data being provided by the district for the use in the project are more specifically described in attachment A. Okay, now hang on. The university will analyze the data and provide reports of the results of its analysis to the district and to the CSMOT Foundation after the district's review and approval. The university will ensure that it uses data containing student information in compliance with applicable student privacy laws and for the benefit of the district. The research results will assist the district in evaluating and analyzing the success, progress, and effects of the project. Project with a capital P. Now let me reiterate my stance in case it's not perfectly clear. This is the Flint Community School District. This is not a special project of the Mott Foundation or partners. Our students are not guinea pigs to be experimented on. This is data collection, pure and simple. I don't see any benefit at all to this except for giving somebody data to analyze, maybe to write a couple of articles. My concern, and that would be the best case scenario. The worst case scenario is this school to prison pipeline that I have been consistently talking about. The fact that data is used to project building and construction for juvenile detention facilities, for prisons, and for other things like that. It is not to the benefit of our community and our students. If it is, show me the evidence, show me that I'm wrong. But I don't have anything that shows me this. Instead, what I have is my own research that shows me quite the opposite. So I am very concerned that something like this is being slipped into our board packet without any information, and that this is something, data is a very valuable commodity in our community and in our society. The question is, how much is this going to cost us? Well, it shouldn't cost us anything. If anything, we should be paid for giving up this valuable, important data to somebody else. This is our students. This is our scholars. They're not just numbers. They're not just entries in a data sheet. So, like I said, convince me I'm wrong. Convince me that this has any benefit to the district at all, but I don't see it.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. McIntyre. I'm a little confused myself. What is this for? What's the reason behind it?
So you remember when Dr. Beverly came and he stood before the board and he spoke about Michigan State being partners with Flint Community Schools to support with the fellowship and also to support with coaching. This is just allowing them to be able to work with us with our data. This is a part of that. And so Michigan State supports us with our data, and they're able to pull the academic data and the information to support, and when they're talking with principals, when they're discussing with us, and when we have professional developments that they support with.
Okay, so my question following that would be, why are we providing it to other partners?
What's the project?
Yeah, I don't understand. I mean, I can see
Why are we providing,
it says.
why are we allowing them to pull
Other
data?
partners, yeah. Well, even, I think let me see. Evaluate extended implementation. I just wonder why other partners are involved. If we're partnering with Michigan State, okay. But how is other partners fitting into this whole?
Are you talking about CSMI?
Yes.
They paid for it.
Okay.
Doesn't mean we need it.
So we're providing because they pay for it?
Are we providing them, upon our approval,
Okay,
as it states, they can receive the data
okay,
that we work with MSU.
okay. Pastor Gilbert? Oh, I got you. Okay. next.
And okay, this is data following our students, but it says teacher data. Teacher ID to be used to link teachers to students. Why? State school ID, gender, race, ethnicity, total of years teaching, total number of years teaching in the district, educational level attained, specialization, endorsements, fields. All this is about teachers. Substitute teachers field data, annual final evaluation ratings. Why they need to be involved in our evaluations, period. If this is about students, why are you evaluating our teachers, our substitute teachers, then average classroom level, student growth data, fall, spring? You know, I mean, then it's some data down here about date of hire. Now, what that got to do with the kids? Then it says the school assignment date for the teacher. Why? The type of teacher credentials, the date of the credentials expiration. You need to know when our teachers' credentials expire in order to do something for our students. Then it say down here, the employment status, education evaluation, the day-to-day termination separate. So this is more than just some data tracking our students. They tracking our whole business. And it sounds like I always say, it sounds like a takeover. Because if I'm trying to do something for your kids, I ain't got to know what time you go to work, what's your boss name, how many people on your shift. I ain't got to know that to do something for your kids. And every time I'm not doing something, they gonna pay for it, don't mean we gotta have it or that we need it. That's it.
Thank you. Dr. Joyce?
Thank you. My concern about data is that in the African American culture, when you read any news article, it's always negative data. We know what's the problem with that, wrong with this community. We don't need data. We know what the problem wrong with the schools. We don't need data. And it's kind of heartbreaking that every time I open up the paper, I'm hearing somebody gather some negative data. It's never nothing positive. Everybody in Flint is not failing. All the kids are not failing. I don't like data. Everything is data driven, but it's also data bias. And why is it this community, this?
That's it.
You got charter school, go over there and check their data out. You got all these other schools surrounding. Why are you focusing on Flint community's school kid who've been poisoned by water, who has went through a pandemic, over 600 kids at the most, have went into foster care, and then we're gonna get some negative data so the newspaper can run and put little black kids in the front and they failing and they this. I think that we need something that's different besides this. It's enough data been done on black folks until it's time for us to tell you what we want. And you can get that data and come in here and talk to us and we'll tell you what the kids need. It really would make you have a better school. So I'm not supporting this data sharing agreement.
Chris Demaroni?
Several things. Number one, it involves the teachers, and I'm wondering what the position of the union is on this. You know, when you hire into work, I would think most people would not expect that information about themselves would be released to a third party. So I would like to know the union's position, number one. Number two, exactly what kind of data will they be collecting and who will collect it? I mean, will people from Michigan State University be in the classroom to observe and to cue in on students? I mean, even if you don't release their names, you know, how will this data be collected? I mean, is it something that the teachers will collect and then forward it to Michigan State? Will Michigan State be in the classroom in some kind of office, or will cameras be used? Do parents know about this? I just see a lot of questions. But so I, you know, until I get some answers, I can't support it.
Thank you. Is there any more discussion? Seeing no further discussion, a motion to move action item 21.19 to the regular meeting for adoption. I will conduct the roll call vote. As I say your name, please answer yes or no for this motion. Dr. McNeil?
No.
Treasurer McIntyre?
No.
Assistant Secretary Treasurer Del Marone?
No.
Trustee Booz?
No.
Trustee Gilbert?
No.
Trustee McIntosh?
No.
And myself is a no. Motion fails 0-7. Board members, in your packet is a monthly tech report from Bartech, 22.1 and 22.2. Do any board members have any questions?
Um, we had an issue with Mr. Kevlin, can you?
Trustee McIntosh?
I'm sorry, Madam President.
That's okay.
Mr. Kevlin, can you?
Yes.
I remember us doing Vortec. I know they do something for us concerning our technology. They are not our marketing firm. Are they just our technology people that hook us up?
The tech.
Okay.
Internet, computers, things of that nature.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I talk to the class? Okay.
Madam President, to the superintendent, so they,
Oh, you done, Ms. McIntosh? I'm sorry.
Yes, I am.
Oh, I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry.
Trustee Gilbert?
I'm sorry.
No, that's
So what about when the students when they at home, when they use the computers, do they watch over that and take care of that
Yes,
as well?
sir. If there's any issues,
Any issues? Yeah,
teachers call it in or put in a ticket, and VARTEC supports that.
okay,
Yes, sir.
thank you.
Dr. McNeil?
Madam President, to Superintendent Jones. A while back, because it's been a while since Bartek been before the board, we was talking about platforms, reducing platforms or having that conversation, as well as I think we left off with Bartek and maybe Cynthia that's going to take that part of those E-rates, moving cables and all of that. So is it possible that Bartek can come and give us an update or could
Yes, ma'am.
not this night,
Yes,
eventually.
ma'am. They were here earlier
Oh,
to answer any questions, but I think they had to leave.
So how is the platform coming? Did we reduce?
Are we talking about apps and?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. We have reduced very many of our platforms. But you also have, when what teachers can use in their classrooms compared to what the district will actually operate. And so that's where we have made our reduction. Our district instructional specialists will not support all these new different apps that staff members are asking to put on. They're only supporting so many. Before this was a conversation, they were supporting any app that was up.
Right.
And it was a lot of apps, but now we're only supporting so many apps because we will never be able to master the apps that we have.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Assistant Secretary Treasurer Demaroni?
Seems like we had a technology problem last week. Do we know what happened with that?
A technology issue?
Yeah, I think with emails, people couldn't send out, receive.
It might have been a Wi-Fi issue. We've had some. They did a reboot. Was that last night? They had to do a reboot last night to update the system. So we do know that the system was down last night to do a reboot, to do some updates.
No problems last week?
Sometimes the internet, it depends on what happens at GISD. Sometimes the internet goes out, but it comes back up and we just move on.
Thank you.
Is there any more discussion? Thank you, Mr. Jones. I will now
Thank
call
you.
upon Assistant Superintendent Murphy to present the academics committee action items to the board. Good evening, board. Good evening.
I seek a motion and a second from the board to move action item 25.4, authorization to purchase approved items from the amended social worker 11S grant to the regular meeting tonight for adoption.
So moved. It has been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Oh, I'm sorry. Treasurer McIntyre.
So on page 25, it says these items were presented in detail at the board committee of the whole on March 9th. That's going to have to be changed, right?
Please go.
Right? And then is this, where, it's a grant? This is coming from a grant, or is this coming from general fund, or where's this?
This is an allocation that we received from the state of Michigan. This was a part of the state's response to the water crisis, where they allocated resources for the school districts to have social workers in the schools. So this comes on our state aid.
What is the purchased services, I guess? I'm trying to.
So we, in the budget, that represents our contracted social workers.
The purchase services
Yes.
are separate from salaries and benefits?
Correct. So if a person is receiving a salary and benefit, they're a district direct hire. They work for Flint Community Schools. If they are a contracted service provider, they may work for a contracted company, just like we have EduStaff. It's the same for social workers.
So I'm looking at this budget summary,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm trying to figure out how it fits with your grant breakdown by allocation.
Mm-hmm.
Can you maybe walk me through that? Because I don't understand this.
So the purchase services as listed in the executive summary is $1.248 million, and that is for contracted social workers. And then the salary and benefits represents those that are district direct hires.
So then on the next page, on page 27, how does that tally? Can you explain?
Sure. So in the 220 line item for instructional staff services, that's going to be included in that salary and benefits line item, the 80,000 there and the 60,000, along with the 50,000 and the 25,000 above that. Those all go into salaries and benefits. And then the two under purchase services, the 564 and the 684 go under purchase services.
Okay, and what was the discussion that you had in the subcommittee meeting?
We just discussed that we needed to amend the budget because initially this budget included program services. However, they changed that, the Michigan Department of Education changed that support services could no longer be allowed. It can only be salaries and benefits for social workers. So we had to amend the budget.
So none of this is coming out of the general fund, this is coming out of?
No, this is all out of this grant.
Right.
Assistant Secretary Treasurer Demarani.
This, I'll call it a contract, if I can. Or is there a better term to use?
This is out of a legislative action
Okay.
that happened in the Michigan legislature. So I don't know if I would call it a contract, but
Okay, so is this the first year for it?
it is not.
It's not. And will it continue? I mean, as long as funding's provided, it's a kind of like a year-to-year thing?
Correct. We wait and see what the state of Michigan budget is to make sure the allocation is there.
So these service providers, they're working on a year-to-year contract.
Correct.
And what about our employees?
similar to what happened tonight, was we do annual considerations for non-renewal. This is one of the reasons why. So we don't have funding for a position, then that's a result of that.
All right, thank you.
Trustee McIntosh.
I'm looking at because you said this other grant breakdown by allocation, and it says salaries and benefits over there, and then you got salaries and benefits over here. You said this 89,000, was that already included in this 215?
Yes, ma'am. This 80,000 and 60,000, yes.
Where's I'm missing the 60,000, I'm sorry.
It's in the benefits line on the budget page.
Oh, okay.
It's in that benefits column.
Oh, no, I might be, well, I don't see the 60, so I'm not gonna even worry about that, because that's not where my question lie if I can't even find it. I'm just trying to figure out, this 89,000 has already been included in this 215,000, right? So if it's been included, if that is true, then how are we coming up with another 608?
Point of information.
I'm on the wrong page. Good.
Yes, Carol, yep.
Great.
Right
I'm
there,
like-
on that page right there, at your right hand, that's where, no.
Oh, this a different whole thing. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. All right. Because I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, I was finna bust down some math, Miss Murphy. I'm like, I know I'm rusty, but I'm a little, okay, I'm, scratch that then. I'm moving on.
No problem. Any more discussion?
Thank you, Chris. You got some good eyes.
Seeing no further discussion, the motion to move action item 25.4 to the regular meeting for adoption. I will conduct a roll call vote. As I call your name, please say yes or no to approve the motion. Dr. McNeil? Ms. McIntyre?
Yes.
Mr. Del Maroni?
Yes,
Ms. Booz?
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert?
Yes.
Ms. McIntosh?
Yes.
And myself, Ms. Green. Motion passes 7-0. Please continue, Ms. Murphy.
I seek a motion and a second from the board to move action item 25.5, authorization to purchase approved items from the amended Michigan Comprehensive Literacy State Development Project Year 1 grant to the regular meeting tonight for adoption.
So moved.
I second that motion.
Is there any discussion? Oh, I'm sorry, it's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Trustee McIntosh?
And this is a literacy grant, but I see up here it says board approval to purchase approved items for the amended Michigan Comprehensive Literacy State Project 1-year grant support. And it says something about paying salaries and benefits. Whose salaries and benefits is this paying?
There's not a full FTE in this grant. However, a part of this grant includes a lot of professional development. So teachers will work outside of their contractual hours. And so we budget that in the salary and benefits line item for any stipends that teachers will receive for participating in professional development outside of their contractual hours.
So this is additional pay for teachers to receive extra additional pay for training.
Correct. This grant supports the development of an internal district literacy system. And so it requires teachers to be able to collaborate outside of their workday to look at resources and identify interventions to support students in their growth and development in literacy.
Okay, thank you.
Treasurer McIntyre?
Well, I was just actually, I think I might have answered my own question down here. I was looking at no, maybe not. Oh, okay. I'm on page 30. Who is for the literacy campaign, who is the publisher on line item? It says 111 on page 30. Purchase services for book fair and supplies and materials for the book company. What company is that?
That's a question I would have to take back to their lead, to to ask that question specifically about who is the book fair host. Is that the question? I want to make sure I understand.
Well, it says literacy campaign, purchase services for book fair company. And then literacy campaign supplies and materials for a book company. I'm assuming it's a Scholastic.
That would be a guess, but I didn't want to because I don't know that 100%, but that would make a lot of sense to me.
And that just seems like an excessive amount I would think we could get a better discount for some of those Scholastic books that I've seen coming down the pipeline. And we've got a local author here. Like, why are we?
It's something that has to be competitively bid out.
This doesn't look competitive. I'm just, okay.
So we can't, that's why we don't list a vendor in there. That's why we have to wait and see what the proposals come back at.
I'm just saying, you've got hosting book fairs, which is basically setting up some tables and setting out a couple of books. And we're paying $35,000 for that. And then you've got 900 K through 5 grade students, and you're paying $185,000 for books for 900 students. Wow. I mean, the U of M doesn't even give me that stipend for being a professor. I mean, I get a book stipend every year. That's nice.
Yeah, one of the goals of this program is to help families build libraries at home. We are really working to put books in every scholar's home to make sure that they have access to culturally responsive books. So that's a part of the team's goal with this literacy grant, that they want to make sure that families can have access to culturally responsive books in their home.
And I don't have an issue with that. I think that's an admirable goal. In fact, I constantly am buying books and giving them out, myself so that people can build their own libraries. And my own neighborhood has 6 little free libraries all throughout the neighborhood that it's constantly stocked by the bus stops. But Scholastic books aren't the best quality. And I mean, I'm just saying, you can get contracts with book companies. It just seems like a lot. Is there anything that we can do to maybe, shoot, even my teachers union, the American Federation of Teachers, does a project with a company called First Book, I believe it is, and we get a very big discount. Like, I can, as a teacher, buy books to give to students at a significant discount. So why wouldn't a school district be able to do that? Is that something that is even looked into? Or,
Again, the vendor is not listed because it has to be bid out. So that may not be the response that is received in the final cost, but that's just how it's budgeted right now. And so we would go through a competitive bid process to solicit bids, and then determine, based on the committee's decision, which selections they want to purchase, and the vendor that gives us the competitive price, not only just with the pricing, but also the selections that they desire.
Okay. I know it's late. I don't want to belabor the point, but given the monopolies of publishing companies and things, it would we're talking about having culturally diverse books that support student exposure, and we're making a bid to these mega publishing corporations. Then how does, say, culturally diverse books get other ones that are, from AK Press or Haymarket Books or something like that? I'm sure that they wouldn't be included in that.
Anyone can respond to the bid.
Okay.
Any company they're posting on the website.
Okay.
There's no restrictions, and it's not identified that we can only purchase from one company. So if we wanted to diversify and say we want X amount of books from local author ABC, or we want to do that, that's our options that we have. We don't have to identify one particular vendor to purchase books from.
So anybody could.
Absolutely.
And we can, have like a multitude of, okay. all
And
right.
we can build the libraries for our scholars based
Okay.
on the teachers reviewing the products, what's available, what's the Lexile reading levels, different things like that.
Okay, all right, thank you.
I just want to add to what Laura said, because I'm a local author, I appreciate that. But I know a lot of us, like me, and we don't get opportunities. So how would a local author be able to be included in the process? Because I've been trying to do that since I've been on the board, and I've been struggling with that.
So with this particular piece, there'll be a bid posted.
Okay.
And it'll be on the district's website. There's a drop down that says bids.
Okay.
The paperwork is not overly difficult. It's
Okay.
like a W-9. It asks you for like a cost sheet. They may ask you for a list of your titles
Okay.
and who they will be appropriate for. And they
Okay.
could respond according to the instructions on the bid sheet.
Okay.
Some we receive electronically, others we require that they be mailed in and postmarked by a certain date and time. So whatever those directions are outlined in the bid packet, you just would
Okay.
need to follow them.
And is it a deadline or a time frame?
Yes, so
Okay.
all that's outlined on the bid
Oh, okay.
packet.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Yeah,
Dr. Joyce?
Absolutely.
I'm fine. I was wondering, exactly what you were saying.
Yeah.
We got a lot of, even myself as my author.
Mhm.
We have a lot and trying to get into, oh, you're right, because I got it all. Sorry about that. But I was just asking the same thing because I'm a writer myself and my answer is for teenagers and some youth. And I'm glad you're saying that so local authors can see how to get their work out when you
Yep.
start talking about culture. Because we have to work very hard just to get into the school. So I appreciate that, and I'll be looking for that information on the website. Hope it's updated.
Is there any more discussion? Seeing no further discussion, the motion to move action item 25.5 to the regular meeting for adoption. I will conduct a roll call vote. As I call your name, please say yes or no to approve the motion. Dr. McNeil?
I guess I say yes.
Ms. McIntyre?
Yes.
Mr. Del Moroni?
Yes.
Ms. Booz?
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert?
Yes.
Ms. McIntosh?
Yes.
And myself, Ms. Green, is yes. Motion passes 7-0.
I have a question, Ms. It might be.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Ms. Kiana, when we have these things that are guesstimated, once we utilize these services, do we get a breakdown of the actual costs? Because I know we get a lot of, allocations that you have to just say, so, this dollar amount, you're not sure. So after we've spent that money, are we going back and saying, we didn't need 600,000, we only needed 450,000, and this is the savings, and it's going back to here?
So one of the reasons why you all see amendments is because we go through that process, right? But when we are allocated a grant, there's not really a cost benefit to us not to use all the resources, right? So we try to budget to zero and spend to zero based on what we've received. But you all see the amendments because maybe we put out quotes and they came in lower than what we thought, and we were able to procure those items for a lower cost. So now we need to go back and amend the budget.
Okay, so that's your amendments. Okay, thank you, Ms.
Absolutely.
Ms. Murphy?
I seek a motion and a second from the board to move action item 25.6, authorization to purchase approved items from the Michigan Comprehensive Literacy State Development Project Year 2 grant to the regular meeting tonight for adoption.
So moved.
Second the motion.
It has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Oh, Treasurer McIntyre?
Yeah, so, all right, so we just approved the year 1 grant. This is the year 2 grant?
It is.
Okay, and so what would be the difference between year 1 and year 2?
Excellent question. So we received this grant last year about this time when the state of Michigan received the grant from the federal government. So they are the fiduciary, and then they make grants available to local districts to write for it. So when we received notification of award for this grant, a team of we got together and decided this is something that would support our literacy efforts in the district. The grant award came in around April, like March or April of last year. And so what began to happen is that because we were a grantee, there is a network that now we're with other districts that were recipients of the same grant. the Michigan Department of Education began to provide professional development and really lay out the goals of the initiative. So what happened was they approved our grant application. However, we began to receive all the new information, professional development on these literacy systems across the state. So then it was like, we need to look at our grant application because there's some amendments that need to be made. They gave us a September 1st obligation date for an award that we didn't see until March or April. So the grant is really behind almost a year. So that's why we have year 1 and year 2 almost running concurrently because of the way the awards were made and the way they rolled out. Okay, we gave you the award, but now we want to meet with you all across the state collectively and share with you some best practice and share with you some networking. So it really, unfortunately, was somewhat backwards in my opinion, but that's how it was rolled out. So that's how we're running these two concurrently at this time.
Do we anticipate a year 3?
Correct. We will have another year of funding. Every year our funding is the same. It's the 608,000. So that's how and there's grade spans that we have to invest in. The reason why the team decided to write this grant because it gave us some funding for birth that we don't receive. We receive no funding in district for birth to pre-K, right? We receive funding started at pre-K. So this was an opportunity to introduce us to supporting those cradle school ideas that many of the board and other people in the community, we used to have relationships with expecting parents and parents with newborns. That's a connection we needed to establish. And so this grant gives us the opportunity to do that.
Do you have when's the year 3 anticipated deadlines? Do you have any idea? I mean, sorry to put you on the spot.
No, I anticipate that it will be during the next school year through the 22-23 school year about this time. So unfortunately, we're going to have to run some concurrent years with this initiative. The team has worked really hard to try to learn as much as they can and make amendments. And so I'm just trying to walk beside them to get these things back in front of the board so that they'll be able to move forward with the plan.
Thank you.
Is there any more discussion? Seeing no further discussion, the motion to move action item 25.6 to the regular board meeting for adoption. I will conduct a roll call vote. As I call your name, say yes or no to approve the motion. Dr. McNeil? Yes. Ms. McIntyre?
Yes.
Mr. Del Marone?
Yes.
Ms. Bowles?
Yes.
Pastor Gilbert?
Yes.
Ms. McIntosh?
I'm getting sleepy. Which item are we on?
25.6.
Okay, that's fine. Yes.
Okay, myself, Ms. Green. Motion passes 7-0. Ms. Murphy, you can continue, please.
I seek a motion and a second from the board to move action item 25.7, authorization to award bid and negotiate contract for E-rate networking equipment to the regular meeting tonight for adoption.
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Dr. McNeil?
Madam President, to Mr. Jones, we see that this is going to come from our ESSER 2 funds. And I think we had that conversation about these E-rates and that $521,604 is my understanding the federal pays 85% of that. So is it necessary that we move the 521,604 rather than the 78,241? You see what I'm saying? Where you're saying you're requesting the 521,000 from the ESSER 2. Where after they take their 15%, we only have to pay the 78,241. Am I understanding that right?
If I may,
Okay.
is that okay?
Go ahead.
So with this option, so there is an option what's called Service Provider Invoicing, SPI, where we don't have to pay out, to Dr. McNeil's point, the 521,604. The company gets that directly through the federal government's E-rate program. So we only pay our portion. So we're never responsible. We don't have to send them a purchase order obligating the district to all of those funds. So we will never send out a purchase order for $521,604 for this initiative because we selected the server provided invoicing option.
So her question goes back to why aren't we just asking for the 78,000?
Because we're only responsible for 15% of the total project as a district. The rest of the funding comes through the federal government.
So why wouldn't it be 78,000 up here instead of the 521? I get, is that what you're trying to ask, Dr.
Yeah.
Joy?
Yeah.
So every year, the district, there's an E-rate calculation, and they'll tell us you're eligible to receive, you can do a project up to this amount. So our highest amount, and we pay 15% of that. Am I not answering the question?
No.
I'm sorry.
No, because it says 521 right here, the amount. But like Dr. Joyce said, why doesn't it just say the 78 that we have to pay? Because that's all we really concerned about. We want to know what we got to pay.
What page are you on?
So let me help.
All right, page 40.
So the 85% is being paid directly to the company. So the question that the board is asking is, we only have to pay 15%. Why are we asking to authorize $521,000?
Understood. Okay, thank you. My page was folded. Okay. Yeah. Are we able to amend that amount? Because we will never have to pay the 521,604 and amend it to read the 78,241 because that is our portion of that.
Good question.
Understood.
Is there any more discussion?
So-
Treasurer McNeil.
So what are we doing? Are we amending the amount or what? I mean, we're bringing it forward for action, but
It's got to be.
what are we bringing forward? Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Can
gotta
we-
be amended.
Can we then table it until it's amended with the amount?
The only concern that the E-rate window is very specific. And so that's my only concern, that if we table this, then we would lose out on our opportunity to have these funds.
So if I may, I think we've been here before where it was possible that a motion was made to pass it
With
if
corrections.
with the corrections. Is that something that we can do? Someone would have to make that motion,
Yeah, I
but
would make a motion that we pass this, what is it? 25-7 with the corrections.
not to exceed the
Not to exceed
78.
$78,241. Is there any discussion? I'm sorry. No? Okay, seeing no discussion, the motion is to pass 25.7 with the corrections not to exceed $78,241. Seeing no further discussion, wait a minute. The motion to move 25.7 with the correction to the regular board meeting for adoption. I will conduct a roll call vote. As I call your name, please say yes or no. Dr. McNeil? Yes. Treasurer McIntyre?
Yes.
Mr. Demarone?
Yes.
Ms. Bowles?
Yes.
Pastor Gilbert?
Yes.
Trustee McIntosh?
Yes.
And myself, Ms. Green, motion passes 7-0. Ms. Murphy, you can continue.
I seek a motion and a second from the board to move action item 25.8, authorization to sign MOU with Central Michigan University Gear Up Program to the regular meeting tonight for adoption.
So moved. Can we get a second?
I'll second that motion.
It has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Treasurer McIntyre?
Could you explain what Gear Up, what is Gear Up? What are you guys doing? What are they doing?
Yes, so And for many years in the district, it was a pre-college program that was supported through Central Michigan University. They were in Northern for years and Northwestern. Their goal is to support pre-college programs for underrepresented first-generation college students. And they do that, and they support the scholars from 8th grade through graduation. Central Michigan receives funding from the state of Michigan to support the program. They recently, just last year during the pandemic, received their funding again. Their funding had ended, and so we had not been a participant with Gear Up probably for another 4 or 5 years because they didn't have their funding. So they reached out to me this year and informed me that they had received their funding and wanted to partner with us. We're one of the schools in the city that they would like to partner with. They would have a staff person that will work between Southwestern and Holmes to facilitate college going workshops for students and parents. They could also leverage their resources if there was professional development opportunities that our teachers wanted to take part of. They could leverage resources for that. They have summer programs that they can offer for scholars. They do college visits and also introduce students to careers as well, with the understanding that not every scholar wants a pathway that goes directly to college. They may want to go through a career path.
So how often do they come to the school? I think it's a pretty decent program.
They have
maybe because of CMU.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I got my MPA is CMU. So the question I do have, because I think it could be a good program, is that making sure that we have some type of mentor for the 8th graders and encouraging them to start to looking and going in that direction. So how often do they come to the school? Are they just embedded in the school every day?
They're embedded in the school, so they actually would have a staff person that would be on campus between Southwestern and Holmes. Okay. So they have, their supervisor is at Central Michigan, but they have someone that's in district to work.
So is this person hired by the Flint schools and is supervised through Central Michigan?
No, they're hired through Central Michigan and supervised through Central Michigan.
And how is this person selected and hired?
They're an employee of Central Michigan University, so they would go through their hiring process.
Do we have any information about how this person who is being employed to provide as a college advisor to our scholars?
We do.
How they're being selected? Like, do they live in the city, or do they have, who is this person who's coming in and doing this service?
Anybody that comes into the schools, we have to send them through our human resources department to ensure that they at least have the minimum expectations that we would have for anybody, an employee working in the school. I did have an opportunity to meet with the young lady. She's from our community and went to school in our community. I made it clear that they needed to be able to connect with our community and serve our scholars. So I was, myself and the principals met with the individual that they had selected before. At this point, we're still waiting to get this approved, but this is the person they have. She's already working in another school that's not one of our schools, a charter school in this community.
What charter school is she working at?
They also serve International Academy of Flint.
And so I did have concerns about the data collection, because once again, we have this program, which I don't disagree has some benefits, but this service is at no cost to the district. An MOU is required to receive the service along with the data sharing agreement to collect the following data. So again, our scholars are being harvested, their data is being harvested by yet another institution. And I'm just wondering if, I know that Henry Ford College has an amazing program called the Kings and Queens program that's overseen by Dr. Calvin Harvell, who's actually a Flint Schools alum. And yeah, I can't remember the exact title of it, but he has conferences every year. He takes all of his scholars, like he's a transition from Henry Ford onto HBCUs. He's gotten awards and accolades. I'm just saying, like, that's just, and I'm not advocating for that. I'm just saying that you've got someone from our community who's getting some dramatic results and is not data harvesting our students. And I'm just wondering, it's like the services provided by MI Gear Up are as follows, to be checked by school officials. It's like AP classes, dual enrollment. I'm just concerned that we're checking these boxes. People are getting grants, people are getting paid, but what are the students getting? What are the students? We've eliminated dual enrollment. I'm not quite sure what the status of our AP classes are. What I've heard from students is, it's not positive. So that's just, I'm just wondering, like, this sounds great on paper, but when you look at it, when you look at the fact that we have 57 graduates last year from high school, the fact that we've eliminated all of these beneficial programs, in the last few years, maybe there's just something that's better. Like where is there any evidence that shows that this program in particular benefits the Flint schools and our scholars in particular? So I'm all for this kind of thing, but again, I'm really worried about the data collection. Like, is that necessary in order to get somebody to come help our students and encourage them with their FAFSA applications? Do we really need to collect all their information and send it on to somebody else?
I think that's a part of the challenge when you are evaluating the effectiveness of any partner program service in order to validate the effectiveness of any or the outcomes. If it's making an impact on, are we, helping more scholars reach post-secondary opportunities? Are we helping more scholars leave when they leave us? Do they have career opportunities? That's, I think, the challenging part for us as a district, that as we want to engage partners, we have to monitor our effectiveness. And if we're not looking at course grades, like our scholars, because we connected them to a mentor, is their attendance improving? Are they receiving better grades as a result of participating in tutoring? So that's the part I think we're trying to navigate. How do we support scholars? And then how do we verify if the support that we're providing is making an impact academically, socially, with their attendance? I don't know how we do that if we're not looking at some of these data points.
Is this the first year that we've had this then?
Yes, this is coming back. We haven't had this in our district in several years.
But we haven't had a lot of things because of COVID. I mean, so is that the reason? When was the last time we had Gear Up?
I would have to do some more research on that. They lost their funding from the state, so they had to pull out of schools completely. So they just received funding last year, but because of COVID and mostly districts being virtual, they couldn't provide the services. So this year would be just our opportunity, our first opportunity to re-engage with them.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Is there any more discussion? Dr. Joyce.
Yeah, I do want to say this, or maybe make a statement. I was with some youth that went to a public school, went to CMU, couldn't make it. They never had APA right installed. All the other kids were so ahead of them. It was really sad because in the public school, they was on honor roll and all of that. But when they got to CMU, it was almost heartbreaking. And when we look at them coming here, if we really want to help these children get to a college level, we have to teach them all these different methodology, research and writing styles. And we got to put some type of grammar back into the classroom, because when they go into that college and sit in that classroom, they're going to compete with kids way ahead of them. Yes, and it's almost heartbreaking because 8 or 9 kids dropped out, and I did end up getting 4 of them to go to a black college where they can pick up those basic skills. And my whole thing would be, yes, there you go. And my whole thing would be a CMU is going to come, and we know how competitive it is. You know, I wouldn't have made it through CMU if I hadn't went to the black college first, which made me able to stay and be competitive at CMU. So these are the things that I'm concerned about, that who's going to monitor it. We go to those 8th graders, and we know right now they're probably not at that college level that they should be. And then they looking, I don't want them to go there looking for data. They can come sit right here. We can tell them the data. You know, what the data is going to be like. My concern is, are they actually preparing them for college? Or are they just looking for data?
They are on campus to provide direct service to scholars. And so they're asking us, what do you all want us to do to support your scholars? So if it's writing workshops like you lifted, and so if it's after school programs or lunch programs, maybe they don't want to stay after school, but they'll spend their lunch working with the tutor in order to be able to have access to AP classes or AP tests or things of that nature. So they're really open to whatever needs we identify that our scholars may need additional support in. So it's almost like a win-win. If our scholars are doing well because of the supports that they offer, then they're able to validate that.
But
So
make sure you put parts of the speech, writing skills. When a 7 or 8 grader come to you and say, Ms. McNeil, how do you write a sentence? What is a sentence? What is a subject? What is a verb? Because these things, to get into college, you have to know. And so if we're going to go this route and they're serious about doing it, well, we got all college grads sitting on this board. We'll be happy to tell them. And President Green just was in the school, so I'm quite sure she saw the need just as clear as I see the need, that if they want to come in and help, come to us, and because you guys are very busy, come to us and we'll tell you. Those kids need the parts of the speech. They need to learn how to write, punctuation marks. And it's hard to teach a 6 and 8 grader cursor writing, those type of things. They should be writing research paper right about now, doing PowerPoint presentation. And so I see they're more concerned with data. And that's my concern, is if they really want to come and help, let's see what they do. But we need to see them moving these kids forward. It's a lot of money going out, but our kids is constantly being right here. That's a problem for me. You know, everybody's reaping off of these children, but the kids are not going up the level that they should be. And I done made it up in my mind, 2022 from this day forward. I'm going to speak for these kids. I'm going to work for these kids. I'm going to demand for these kids. You're welcome to come to Flint, but we're tired of seeing these low test scores. We're tired. It's heartbreaking. A child wants to read. Don't say they can't read. They wants to read. And the education system owed them that opportunity to read. It's no such thing that African-American kids cannot read. It's just somebody has not taken the time. And don't blame it on their mama. Their mama don't have masters and PhDs. So that's all I got to say.
Thank you, Trustee McIntosh.
Man, I don't. This is what I wanted to look. I kind of forgot. Look, I forgot where I'm going. This is what we're on this piece where we have these base bids for our buildings, right? Are we not there yet?
CMU, we on the CMU.
Cause I don't know where we at. I don't know what y'all,
Page,
what page we on?
We're on page 92.
92, yeah.
Oh, thank God. Listen, and then I had a question back here. I done missed trying to stay woke probably. I'm trying to.
You wasn't woke.
I was trying to stay woke. I done missed my question. Miss Kiana Murphy. Boy, please tolerate. I'm sorry, because I'm on my way to sleep up here. Right here, what is this about? Is this with the E-rate? This is connecting 62. This is connecting our building to some technology. And I was sitting up here waiting on my chance to ask.
Wait, what page was on?
She back over there, back to
62. Girl, we on 90 something.
I know that. I ask you later, Miss Kiana.
Yeah, let's do that later.
Yeah, we'll do that later. I'm saying, y'all done did me wrong. I'm over here on this. I'm not sure. I know.
Is there any more discussion? Pastor Gilbert. Oh,
I got something wrote down. Right?
okay.
Just optimization so I can use Central Michigan University. Okay. Okay.
That's 25.
This is about. I saw something in here that concerned Southwest Academy, Flint Southwestern Classical Academy for the. Yeah, because this says for Flint Southwestern Classical Academy for the 2021 to 2027 school year.
Yep, page 92.
But what I'm trying to figure out is when we did our E-depth scenarios, Southwestern was one of our schools. I thought we spoke on Southwestern possibly being closed.
One of the scenarios.
So how we gonna vote to run something in Southwestern from 2021 to 2027 if we in 2022 and we talked about closing Southwestern? I mean,
This talks about where the students are today. So they would follow the scholars.
Wherever they go. We're not
Right.
locked into Southwestern.
Absolutely, no.
If we vote for this, they're not
That's
gonna
just
be.
where those scholars are today.
Okay, I'm just trying to make sure they don't want no verbatim agreement, and then we can't move around in our district because we've agreed to do something at Southwestern till 2027. That's what. See, I be working ahead, and then I. Okay, I'm with y'all now. See,
Okay.
see there.
Is there any more discussion? Seeing no further discussion, the motion to move action. I'm sorry, Treasurer.
So why is the contract from 2001 to 2027? Is there some way we could do it a shorter contract?
That the years represent the years that they have funding, and they follow the scholars from their 7th and 8th grade years through graduation. So that's how they identify how they're going to serve in a cohort. So that's how the years go.
So there's no way of like having the services without the data collection?
That's my understanding, correct?
Is there any way to opt out of this?
It's 100% optional. If the board
No,
decides that.
I meant for the students and the parents. So if you're going to Holmes or Southwest, if you're a high school student with the Flint Community Schools, do you have the option of saying, I'm not sharing this data?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's always a parent's option. We have annual FERPA notices that parents complete, and they can always opt out of any directory information being shared or anything like that.
So,
or even having their scholar participate in this program. It's available, but it's not mandatory. So if a parent is uncomfortable or they feel like my student is involved in something at U of M or a different college preparation program, it's optional. It's a service. It's not a requirement.
But I mean, this is almost like getting informed consent when you're doing an experiment. I mean, this isn't couched as an experiment, but is it offered to parents like, in order to receive these services, this is what you're giving up, or this is what you're sacrificing? Is that in order to get these services, you're going to have to relinquish this information? I mean, as a parent myself, I've seen those FERPA notices and I've seen those things I'm supposed to sign and I'm sitting up here with a master's degree. It doesn't make sense it's not clear what you're signing away or what you're agreeing to. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that all goes into informed consent. And it's like what Dr. Joyce was saying, we've got a whole history of students like ours being poked and prodded and researched and looked at and having data extracted and I'm just wondering if the cost is worth the services, given that, you know, they want this data from us, but where's the data from them showing us that the services they're going to provide are effective?
Good question.
If that's a request, I don't see that being challenged at whatsoever. If we have other partners, we ask for participation data, how many FAFSAs, maybe the contacts that they've made. That's standard district practice to determine if this is effective. Right? We have to, critically look at opportunities that are offered to our scholars and determine for us as a district, is this working and does it support the services and programs we want to offer scholars?
So are you saying that you've done that due diligence with this program?
Well, this hasn't started. So when I did meet with them and I examined what services, and then I put in the principals to help them out because they're serving scholars, daily in their buildings to identify what the needs are. We didn't get very deep into specifics because we needed to do this first. Like if this is not approved, then I can't tell them, yes, you can do that. I had to do this work first, bring this to the board.
Thank you.
So, but I mean, we're actually going to be approving an MOU. So, I mean, if we're approving an MOU, then it's a done deal. I mean, what I'm asking for is, yeah, this program hasn't started yet, but they've already done programs. So where is the evidence that their program is successful, or that we get some kind of a benefit out of it? They've got data from, if not our school system, then from other school systems.
She shared that information with me when we met. Their data, yes.
Yep.
Nope. Trustee McIntosh?
Honey.
You didn't forget?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Dr. Joyce.
I don't want to deny the children from being even exposed to talking to someone from college. And I'm quite sure that their parents have the opportunity to sign a statement waiving if they don't want to answer this information. I would like to give them that opportunity. We got to start somewhere. And sometimes if you just give them just a little window open, not all our kids are failures. So, and I understand what my colleagues are saying here. I don't like the data driven, but I do want children to get more connected with different universities, bringing some of the Black universities in and having them to talk with them, having those conversations. There's some of the conversation that have been in these community forums that I have been going to the city. So maybe this is a good start. We got to do something. And if these children are not exposed to what it's like to go into college, and it's going to be data, they're going to get data from us everywhere. I just don't like experimental data. So I'm not going to hold up the board time. I will support it and let the parents have that option to fill out those questions that they might feel offensive. It's up to them.
So, Ms. Murphy, just for clarification, anytime before 2027, if we decide, oh, this is not a good fit, we don't want to be a part of this, this is not working, our kids aren't getting anything out of it, we could always opt out, correct?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Is there any more discussion? Seeing no further discussion, the motion to move action item 25.8 to the regular meeting for adoption. I will conduct a roll call vote. As I call your name, please say yes or no to approve the motion. Dr. McNeil?
Yes.
Ms. McIntyre?
No.
Oh, Mr. Dembrow's not here. Ms. Booth?
Yes.
Ms. McIntyre? Pastor Gilbert?
Yes.
And myself is a yes. Motion passes 5-4. I'm sorry. 4-0. 4-1. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Murphy. We appreciate you. We held the closed session earlier, so I'll turn the floor over to Pastor Gilbert to chair the Human Resources Committee of the whole portion of the old business section.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Human Resources Committee of the whole, date of meeting March 16th, 2022 at 11:24 p.m. I would like to call the Human Resources Committee of the whole meeting back to order. Please join me and Mrs. Galloway to present action items to the board.
I seek a motion and second from the board to move action item number 1.3, resolution to accept addendums to letters of agreements and issue payments to the regular board meeting tonight for adoption.
So moved.
You've heard the motion. Is there a second? You've heard the motion. Is there a second? You heard the motion. Is there a second? The motion dies for lack of support and a second.
Do any board members have any comments?
Please continue, Ms. Galloway.
I seek a motion and second from the board to move action item number 1.5, personnel recommendations to the regular board meeting tonight for adoption.
You said action item 1.4, right?
No, I said
1.5.
first, so this is 1.5.
And 1.5.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm asleep.
Gotta make the motion. So there's no motion. It hasn't been properly seconded. So it dies for a lack of support.
Do any board members have any comments?
Thank you, Ms. Galloway. Seeing no further business, I declare the Human Resources Committee adjourned. I now turn the floor over to President Green for the remainder of the agenda. The coward.
Thank you, Pastor Gilbert. I just want the public to know that the board, we took quite a long time in closed session, and due to a lack of information in the addendum for the LOA, we'll be discussing it further and bringing it back. And seeing no further business, I declare the board committee of the whole meeting adjourned. I gotta go to the bathroom. I gotta go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Great, great.
Yeah, she needed to go to the bus.
Dr. Joyce should have jumped over there.
Yeah. We gotta do the regular board meeting.
You got all this.
We can't pass it without a record board. That's the bylaw.
Y'all know y'all ain't
Y'all
y'all
was in there
was
talking and having y'all.
talking all
Look
like.
at sister-in-law.
I'm about ready to go home. Y'all need to get the gay in the man now. I'm on my way to the minute now.
But they didn't. So. Because I know I was.
1 month ago. No.
I thought it was two. I did look at my email. Yes,
Did you hear me?
I didn't. They not even accepted.
This is just information.
But, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, okay, well, good, yeah.
I only can do it up to.
Okay.
I don't know if they know it just happened.
I don't either, but.
Okay.
Or you could check with chairs. Maybe he has a different understanding.
Okay.
Make me some salad.
We're close. You have your regular packet?
Yes, I do.
What'd you say?
Yeah.
You do one. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's what happens after. That's why we do it, because we know we gotta cover it. Okay. Okay. So it's the next move. If we decide what we're doing. Got it. Okay, which will be. Okay.
Okay. I'm wow. You hear me? How much? I know you're tired, ain't you? Ooh. Okay.
I don't know.
I'm trying to omit your stuff, so go ahead
Okay.
and start with your script.
Okay, thank you,
I
ma'am.
mean, move this stuff.
Okay, don't mess it up. I would like to call the Board of Education, the regular board meeting to order. Time is now 11:31. Board members, as I call your name, please reply present for the record. Vice President McNeil. Pastor Gilbert. Treasurer McIntyre.
Present.
Assistant Secretary Treasurer Del Marone. Trustee Booth.
Present.
Pastor Gilbert.
Present.
Carol McIntosh.
Present.
And myself present. At this time, the board will hear all comments from the public pertaining to the items listed on tonight's meeting agenda. Comments about the items not appearing on the agenda can be addressed at the end of the meeting. And I have Carrie down. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh. Yeah, was it exit anyone control? Right, but I'm saying, am I reading the script? Oh. So this is not agenda item. Oh, okay. Is there anyone from the public who would like to address the board on agenda items? Seeing none? Oh, shoot. Oh. Mr. Woodson? Is Chris okay?
Testing. Yeah, let me say this. I listened to y'all on about the MSU, and I'm gonna challenge Treasurer Laura McIntyre on the data. On the data, Cummings was supposed to take data of our kids from 0 to 12. U of M, matter of fact, was supposed to do it. Right now, we don't have any data to show if our kids behavioral issues where homicides is up right now, if they were affected by the water. If we had that, then maybe, you know, we could have foreseen and been able to go out and talk to the kids' parents and follow them after they got out of school. Gear Up, my little cousin, and my daughter graduated from college when doing Gear Up. Gear Up is geared to helping the kids in school. Ms. McIntyre said something about data, but then she turned around and asked the young lady that was speaking, where's the data to show it? How can she show her something if y'all fighting them from getting the data to be able to show it? Data isn't poking all the time. That's just like when we talked about the COVID vaccination shots. Just because they did it in Tuskegee, and just because they did the syphilis experiment doesn't mean that just because they taking data, they poking us. Come on, man. We need that data in order to find out if what we are doing is working. How do we even know that the kids are achieving if we don't have the data to show it? Everything isn't a fight, man. My God. I mean, y'all prying. I mean, if you listen on the communication call last Thursday, you heard me speak to Ms. Renelle Weathers. I just stood here and told y'all that we get money from the state. It's $8.1 million coming to the city of Flint. The school district only get 2.1 million of it, and GISD get the other 6.1. That's the 6.1 is what you should be fighting about, not the grant money right here. Y'all prying that. Pry that 6.1 million that GISD getting ready to get. Go over there and talk to them. Come on, man. Y'all don't have to dissect every single last thing to make it look like the administration is incompetent. Come on now.
Thank you, Mr. Woodson. We will now receive the superintendent's communique. Mr. Jones.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Across all our schools, we emphasize the importance of showing up to school all day, every day, to promote this among our scholars and their families. Each of our buildings has a never been absent or NBA program. Last month, 21 Freeman Elementary scholars were recognized as part of the school's NBA draft event, celebrating their perfect attendance with music, prizes, and a certificate with their attendance statistics. These 21 scholars have demonstrated their dedication to their own academic, social, and emotional journeys, whether via in-person or distance learning. I want to give a shout out to these scholars for their perfect attendance. Dayla C., Kiasia F., Sincere M., I'm not giving their full name, that's why I'm saying the last letter, Emily S., Jeremine T., Journey F., Desmond H., Dominique L., Carter R., Brady B., Markel R., Amaya T., Nevaeh S., Zanea H., Marcellus H., Marzan H., Naomi S., Caden, Robert, Lydia, and Dimitri. Thank you to every scholar for continuing to do all they can to be an active member of our school community, both in and outside of the classroom. We are so proud of you. For our next shout out, we're moving from Freeman Elementary to Southwestern Classical Academy for the inaugural HYPE graduation. HYPE means Helping Young People with Employment, is a new program at Southwestern that helps scholars learn the skills they will need to be responsible, productive, and well-adjusted contributing members of society in Flint and beyond. The program is teaching life skills young people need to succeed, from creating a resume and applying to jobs to budgeting and building credit. HYPE is just one of the many programs that we offer through the Flint Community Education Initiative, expanding our schools outside of teaching academics and into a key resource and support structure for Flint families. I want to congratulate these scholars on their graduation from the program, and we will proudly cheer them on as they successfully transition to the next stage of their lives. As you may know, March is National Reading Month, and while we encourage scholars to read every day, we have some incredible events and initiatives this month that further demonstrate the importance of healthy reading habits. This week, we are thrilled to offer 2 free books to all scholars at Freeman Elementary through a partnership between Scholastic, ABC Studios, and the breakout television show Abbott Elementary. The show focuses on a group of teachers that, against all odds, does all they can to support their scholars and school community. This message resonates with educators across the country, and we are grateful that Freeman Elementary was selected to take part in this initiative. Another initiative we have been working on over the past few months is the book vending machine through the Get Lit Literacy on the Go initiative at Freeman, which will be officially revealed and available to scholars beginning Friday, March 18th. As we look to the future of Flint Community Schools, we continue to partner the school community and to receive input from our community for the $99 million in ESSER 3 funds. We have hosted several forums since last fall with scholars, families, teachers, and staff, board members, community activists, and partners. We have heard your feedback and on new and renovated facilities, revamped programs, and additional resources to help our scholars thrive. As we look ahead, we are eager to connect with key groups within our school community at several more future-focused community forums. Tomorrow, Thursday, March 17th, from 3:15 to 4:45, we are hosting our first staff forum for Tier 1 schools at Southwestern Classical Academy or via Zoom. The staff forum for Tier 2 schools will be hosted on Thursday, March 24th at Durant Terry Mott. On Tuesday, April 12th, from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., we invite the Latino community to the Latino Community Forum hosted at the Latinx Technology Community Center or online via Zoom. Information for these forums is available on our website at flintschools.org. We look forward to connecting with the school community as we work together to chart the future of Flint Community Schools together. As an administrative update, we have filled 3 key roles to support our scholars, families, teachers, and staff. Ms. Kiana Murphy was appointed as our assistant superintendent last month, and we continue to work side by side in this new role. She remains dedicated to the district and those it serves, and we are thrilled to have her. We also have the pleasure of appointing Ms. Deanna Kleeman as the Director of Academics and Ms. Sharita Galloway as the Executive Director of Human Resources. As the Director of Academics, Deanna will help the district's teachers and staff as they support scholars' academic, social, and emotional journeys. And Sharita Galloway will serve as a point of contact for all human resources related business. I want to give a shout out to Kiana, Deanna, and Sharita for their first month in these new roles, and we look forward to all they do to help Flint schools. While we remain on the rest of the school year, we encourage families to begin planning for the 2022-23 school year. If you know someone with a scholar going into preschool or kindergarten, please encourage them to reach out now to begin the enrollment process. A robust preschool and kindergarten experience is essential and foundational for each scholar, propelling them well into adulthood. Flint Community Schools offers the options, support, and resources that your scholar may need, and we encourage families to reach out with any questions. Last, I want to thank our entire school community for remaining focused throughout this school year. We are fortunate to have a school community that shares our mission to support the scholars of Flint. As always, my goal is our success, and we remain Flint focused on behalf of those we serve. Thank you to our board and thank you to our staff. This concludes my communique.
Do any board members have any questions for Mr. Jones? Thank you, Mr. Jones.
You're welcome.
I will now call upon Mrs. Galloway to present the Human Resource Committee items to the board.
I seek a motion and second from the board to approve action item number 1.4, notice of consideration for non-renewal of administrators' contracts.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the motion to approve action item 1.4, I will conduct a roll call vote. As I call your name, please say yea or nay to approve the action. Dr. McNeil?
Yes.
Treasurer McIntyre?
Yes.
Mr. Del Maroni?
Yes.
Trustee Bowles?
Yes.
Trustee Gilbert?
Yes.
Trustee McIntosh?
Yeah.
And myself, Ms. Green, yes. Motion passes 7-0. Thank you, Ms. Galloway. In your packet, there's information reports, 12.9, check registrar, 12.10, balance sheet, 12.11, budget versus actuals, 12.12, EDEP monthly report. Do you have any questions? Treasury McIntyre.
So I had some questions about some stuff on the check register.
Here she comes.
All of them? Just a few. Hello, Ms. Dumpre. Thank you.
Good evening.
It's a late night. So I'm trying to make sure I've got the page numbers so that we can, it says page 1 of 27 for the disbursement transactions. It says there was a duplicate payment for our outdoor services. And I'm just wondering,
Where do you see the word duplicate payment?
invoice 1427 on page 1 of 27. Ace Outdoor Services.
So it's a credit memo. You see it's negative?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So how did it come about that we had a duplicate payment, and how was it discovered? What are our safeguards and procedures to ensure this doesn't happen
I
again?
can't answer that question tonight without having a packet in front of me to be able to provide you with an answer. So allow me to get the information and I can send it to you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So then on page 2 of 27, under Bell Forklift, Inc., it's for repair and maintenance of vehicles. Is this a vehicle that we own, or what was the repair and maintenance?
So it is, we would have vehicles that we own, and I can't tell you specifically what the repair was, but if there was something wrong with the vehicle that we needed to take care of, these are district vehicles, and we would take care of that vehicle. But if you want the specifics, I can provide that for you.
I do want the specifics. I would also like some specifics about the district, the vehicles in the district. Where are they, and where are they kept, and
So
who's driving them?
we have maintenance vehicles that the maintenance
people use to go around the district and take care of responsibilities. We have the little white cars, I don't know the proper names for it, for safety. The safety advocates use them, and they are housed at Southwestern. Is that the correct?
The attendance agents.
Thank you, attendance agents. And then we have the food service vehicles that are at Northwestern that the food service employees use to deliver the foods to the different buildings.
So I was under the impression that there was like some vehicles that were kept at the administration building parking lot. Is that?
There are no from time to time, attendance agent might have a car and they come to the building, but there are no cars kept at the administration building.
So so how many vehicles do we have? What are they used for, and where are they kept, I guess is the question, because we're having a little confusion about, I guess, inventory in the district and accountability for when they're being driven, who's driving them, and for what. Is there mileage checks? Because it just doesn't seem like we have a lot of accountability for some of these vehicles. And there have been questions that have come into the district about these things.
So what I would like to do is gather that information and get it to the board as far as how many vehicles, the complete process of how that works. I will definitely get that to the board.
And where they're supposed to be at 5:00 afternoon every day, where are they supposed to be located and parked, I guess. Carol, you had? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
I was like, finance, I'm in charge. No, go ahead.
Trustee McIntosh.
Laura asked one of my questions that I was going to ask, because I received some information about it too, and I had been told that we had an administrator driving one of the district vehicles. Somebody actually emailed me about that. So I guess we do need to know who has the authorization to drive these district vehicles, because what administrator would have access to the district vehicles? Don't they have their own vehicles? Why would they, So I would like to know too, what administrators have access to district vehicles. And far as the attendance agents, I know a young man that has not been to school in like 6 months or so, pretty much all year. And I was told that nobody checked up on this kid. He was just dropped from the road. And I do have his name. I'm not going to say his name out loud in an open meeting, but I will talk to Mr. Kevlin about it if he cares to know or get involved. So yeah, I do want it, because, just the fact that we're providing attendance agents with vehicles, and here's a kid that ain't been to school and God knows when, and he ain't seen no attendant agent, is concerning. That's it.
Is there any more discussion? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just saw that.
Oh, I'm sorry, Laura.
No, that's okay. I knew that you had a pertinent. So if we have a line item, and I didn't mark it, but it just, for mileage, then it would be for an employee of the district who's getting mileage reimbursement. Because I know that we have employees who get stipends for travel and mileage, so it wouldn't be one of those employees, right? So what would mileage be for?
So if an employee has to do district business and drive their own car, if they're going to a training, if we have to have someone do something on behalf of the district and they drive their own car, then we pay them mileage.
So, but there are, like, for example, you guys have your $4,000 stipend, so you're not collecting mileage, right? Is that correct? Okay, so then it would be an employee who doesn't have that, right?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Then on page 3 of 27, we have Cengage Learning. What is the charge for, what is College Board for Cengage Learning?
So College Board is a different vendor.
Oh, okay. So, I see. Okay. So Cengage Learning, it says statistics learning then? Is that, software. It's on 3 of 27.
So it's under supplies. So again, I don't have specifics for every check that's in here. If you can tell me which ones you have questions about, I can provide you with the details.
Okay.
So you want Cengage?
Yeah, I'd like to know what we're contracting with Cengage for. It's, again, one of those Walmart publishing companies that I would like to see exactly what we're getting from them. And then College Board, you were saying it's a different vendor and it's just supplies?
That
Title
is
I.
correct. Again, I can, as I stated before, just let me know which ones you want and I will be able to provide you with the details. I don't have any details tonight to provide.
Thank you. Well, it's the only way I can get the information, so.
I beg your
Um,
pardon?
She's saying that asking was just a fruitless endeavor right now, that it was, I'd be like, not be able to get the information. And I said that.
just write them down and stuff. That's what she said.
Yeah, if you send to me in an email, I can give you every one as you want it. Or we can keep going.
Yep, just
Okay.
email them.
All right. I'm not going to email.
No,
I mean,
okay,
I
you don't
can
have
go
to.
and I can relay it to Mo. I can't
Okay.
type, so.
Okay,
you know.
okay.
Yeah,
Well,
that's what
just
I'm
long
saying.
as you get the information you're seeking, that was what was important.
All right.
All righty.
Yep. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Ms. Dunpry. You're welcome. I will now call upon Mr. Jones to present Board Committee of the Whole action items to the board.
All right. I seek a motion and a second from the board to approve action item 21.18, designation of delegate and alternative representatives for GISD annual budget hearing. Ms. Laura would be the designee, and Ms. Booz will be the alternate. Did I get
So
that?
moved. You did good. It has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any questions?
Real quick one. Will
All
they
right.
both attend together or just the alternate in the event?
No alternate goes if the primary, which would. can't
Okay.
come.
Can we both go?
Oh, I don't.
No?
think-
Okay.
No, because it's just a season. That's from my
So,
experience.
Madam Chair, so they both don't have to go?
No, they both don't have to
Okay,
go. No.
okay.
This one replaces the other, first would be Laura, Ms. McIntyre, then Ms. Booz, if Laura can't make it. Is there any more discussion? Seeing none, the motion to approve action item 21.1 within, girl, I'm about to within 30. Laura McIntyre as the delegate, I'm sorry, y'all, and Ms. Booz as the alternate. I will conduct a roll call vote. As I say your name, please. Please say yea or nay. Dr. McNeil. Ms. McIntyre.
Yes.
Mr. Del Maroney.
Yay.
Ms. Booz.
Yes.
Pastor Gilbert.
Yes.
Ms. McIntosh. And me is a yes. Motion passes 7-0. Thank you, Mr. Jones. I will now call upon Ms. Murphy to present academic committees of the whole action items to the board.
Point of order.
Yes,
Are-
sir.
Are we voting on 21.19? No?
It didn't pass.
If it doesn't make it to the, sorry. No, that's okay.
Good evening. I seek a motion and a second from the board to approve action item 25.4, authorization to purchase approved items from the amended social worker grant 11S.
So moved. It has been properly moved and second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the motion to approve action item 25.4, I will conduct a roll call vote. As I say your name, say yea or nay to approve this action. Dr. McNeil. Ms. McIntyre.
Yes.
Mr. Del Maroney.
Yes.
Ms. Booz.
Yes.
Pastor Gilbert. Ms. McIntosh. And myself, Ms. Green. Motion passes 7-0. Please continue, Ms. Murphy.
I seek a motion and a second from the board to approve action item 25.5, authorization to purchase approved items from the amended Michigan Comprehensive Literacy State Development Project Year 1 grant.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the motion to approve action item 25.5, I will conduct a roll call vote. As I say your name, please say yea or nay to approve this action. Dr. McNeil.
Yes.
Ms. McIntyre.
Yes.
Mr. Del Maroni,
Yes.
Ms. Booth,
Yes.
Pastor Gilbert,
Yes.
Ms. McIntosh, and myself is yes. Motion passes 7-0. Please continue, Ms. Murphy.
I seek a motion and a second from the board to approve action item 25.6, authorization to purchase approved items from the Michigan Comprehensive Literacy State Development Project Year 2 grant.
Second. You was in the bathroom, I think. Yeah. It's been moved and properly second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the motion to approve action item 25.6, I will conduct a roll call vote. As I say your name, please say yea or nay to approve this action. Dr. McNeil. Ms. McIntyre, Ms. McIntyre.
Yes.
Mr. Del Marone.
Yes.
Ms. Booth.
Yes.
Pastor Gilbert.
Yes.
Ms. McIntosh.
Yeah. Wait, I need to know which literacy program is it. Is this ain't the project? Is this the project?
No.
No. That didn't even come, didn't make it
Right,
to
that's
the,
what I thought.
yeah, it didn't make it to the full board.
Cause it's late, I'm getting tangled
I
up.
get you.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. And myself, Ms. Green, motion is a yes for me. Motion passes 7-0. Ms. Murphy, can you please continue?
I seek a motion and a second from the board to approve action item 25.7, authorization to award bid and negotiate contract for E-rate networking equipment.
With the amendment not to exceed
Yes.
$78,241.
Yes.
So moved. It has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the motion to approve action item 25.7 with the amended amount not to exceed $78,241. I will conduct a roll call vote. As I call your name, say yea or nay to approve this action. Dr. McNeil. Ms. McIntyre.
Yes.
Mr. Del Marone.
Yes.
Ms. Booth.
Yes.
Pastor Gilbert.
Yes.
Ms. McIntosh.
Yes.
And myself is a yes. Motion passes 7-0. Ms. Murphy, please continue.
I seek a motion and a second from the board to approve action item 25.8, authorization to sign MOU with Central Michigan University Gear Up Program.
So moved.
Support.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the motion to approve action item 25.8, I will conduct a roll call vote. As I say your name, please say yea or nay to approve this action. Dr. McNeil. Ms. McIntyre.
No.
Mr. Del Marone.
No.
Ms. Booth.
Yes.
Pastor Gilbert.
Yes.
Ms. McIntosh.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm so tired till I'm cross-eyed.
Okay.
I don't have no idea what 25.
The Gear Up program for CMU to go into the high school for the kids to prepare them for college and help them with the college prep.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, and myself is a yes. Motion passes 5-2.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Before we adjourn, I would like to ask if there's anyone from the public who would like to address the board. Please come forward to the podium and state your name and address before you begin. Same thing. Hi, Ms. Downs.
Good morning, board. Long meeting, so I will try and make this quick. But a couple items that came up earlier in this evening's discussion, I wanted to speak to it. Again, Carrie Downs, Director of the Flint Community Education Initiative led by the Crim Fitness Foundation. Our main office is located at 452 South Saginaw. I do first want to say huge honor, Ms. Green, appreciation to you for the Pistons tickets that you provided to several of our schools for the game coming up on March 23rd. And while, of course, we just are saying thank you because we get to support that activity to make sure the scholars make it to that game, and we are so grateful for that.
Thank you.
The next item I wanted to speak to was not part of my formal presentation, but dual enrollment came up earlier this evening, and I wanted to speak to that. I'm so proud to report that we have 11 scholars from Southwestern who are registered for a 3-credit-hour class through Arizona State University. They're doing Poetry in America. It's a class we've offered before through a partnership with the National Education Equity Lab. So we offer this opportunity to scholars at no cost to them, so they're able to take the class. It's co-taught by a Southwestern teacher who has already taken the class and gotten certification to teach it collaboratively with a professor from Arizona State University. We've offered this program previously through Howard University as well, and we're very excited to partner with Arizona University this spring. Those students, those scholars from Southwestern are set up for success. They're identified as being ready for a rigorous college class, and the students often report that it's giving them a tremendous amount of confidence to continue on in their college education upon graduation. So I'll look forward to giving you an update in the spring about how that's going, but we would expect it will go well as it's been taking place for the last couple of years. Again, at no cost to the students. And that dual enrollment class takes place after school, so it doesn't interfere with the core classes for those 11th and 12th graders. Some other items that I would like to share as far as highlights with you is the next one is that at Durant Mott, we had scholars on Count Day who were encouraged to make sure they were in school. We honored 2 classrooms at DTM that had perfect attendance on Count Day, and we were able to give them some DTM Dragon swag. So it's just a way to honor students who were in class and giving them some great pieces to identify with the school and and continue to encourage that great attendance. I'd also like to lift at Potter Elementary School within the Flint Community Schools. We partnered with a local organization, the Resume Bar Services. We've been partnering with them since January of 2021, so over a year, and they provide resume and career preparation services to parents and community members. After completing the program at no cost to adults, participants leave with a professional resume, a cover letter, a reference list, and an optimized LinkedIn profile.
Thank you,
So
Ms.
much more to
Downs.
share with you, but thank you so much, Mrs.
I
Green, and thank
appreciate
you,
it
board.
very much. I just want to say I'm glad to hear this Arizona State thing. My oldest daughter graduated from Arizona State. I know y'all don't care about that this late, but I said thank you, Carol. I appreciate it. Mr. Wilson. Mr. Wilson.
Yeah. Let me start off by
I
saying
got it. I missed that.
this was a long meeting. And I mean, the registry, the checks, I think the treasurer signs those checks. So why didn't you just do an email and say, hey, I need all these checks right here so you can tell me? Because this is the second time that y'all had to go through that right there. I'm going to say this. Ms. President, it was 2 things that you did wrong tonight. The first one was going into executive session without suspending the rules so that you can move the executive session up because it was an agenda change.
I don't think you're supposed to address board members. Nope. So, Mr. Woodson, you're out of line.
Okay.
Let's get it together.
Okay. Well, board, the second one was when you came back from the executive session, you should have voted yourselves back in because you came from an executive session. I seen that.
You saying me again, or you saying the board collectively?
I said board.
Okay, I missed that
I
part.
said board. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Mr. Woodson. I missed it when you said Laura's name the first time you got up and
Okay,
spoke.
my fault. I said treasurer. I didn't say Laura.
This time you did. I said the first time.
Okay.
I missed it, and I apologize to her for that.
Okay.
So we just gonna have to keep this in order, okay?
All right, no problem.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. The third thing is that you all tabled the strategic plan, and you had a workshop, and you discussed the strategic plan, and you never took it off the table. So you couldn't vote or discuss the strategic plan at the workshop because you never took it off the table. Then you voted at the workshop on an action. You couldn't do it because it was a workshop. You had to vote yourselves out of the workshop and go to a full board. Even if you voted in that workshop, it was a committee of finance. So you would have to bring it to the full board. So whatever you voted on did not count. It was illegal. So those are three things that was done, and you never brought the strategic plan off the table. This here is sad because we need new schools for our kids, and y'all keep on having meetings and keep on talking about the same thing, man, and ain't making no progress. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Woodson. Is there anyone else from the public who would like to make a comment? Thank you. Do any board members have a comment? You do?
Yes,
Oh.
yes, just real quick, in regards to the strategic plan and everything else we're doing. You know, we've been given some
You're
information.
not supposed to comment, respond to the public comment.
Oh,
You're
no,
not obligated, but-
I'm not even, no, I'm not, yeah, no,
Okay.
no, I'm just talking
I
about our
apologize.
strategic plan and different things that we
Yeah,
have going
okay, okay.
on. We're getting some information, but I don't know that we're getting enough. I think in order to make a good decision, we need to know how much it would cost to renovate all our schools, how much it would cost to tear down the schools that cannot be used or whatever. You know, how much to build a new one, just so that we have all those numbers. Because we can't say, well, let's tear down this school when it might be better to rehab that one than to rehab the other one. So I just feel we need more information. And
All righty. Does any other board members have any comment? A finance committee of the whole meeting will be held tomorrow night at 5:30 p.m. at Administration Building. The next board meeting of Education Committee of the whole meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, April 13th at 6:30 p.m. here at Cengage Learning Academy. Seeing no further action, this regular board meeting is adjourned. Good night, everybody.